Hello everybody, thank you for joining me again. As you can see, this week's video is going to be a little bit different to the last ones. I thought, having been making these videos for about a month now, it would be a good idea to recap on what I've learnt so far and maybe share some of that with you. When I started, I wanted to make videos at Bury Head. It was just after the lockdown. We'd had a month or so where it was very quiet. We could only get out for our own exercise once a day, and I took a camera with me. No tripod or anything like that, but I thought I'd go out and try my luck taking some photographs when I was going for my daily walk. And Bury Head particularly was glorious. Very few people, and the wildlife was really given a chance this year to flourish. And it was a joy to be able to go up there for about an hour and take photographs. So since lockdown's been eased and holidays abroad are quite difficult at the moment, then more people are coming down to the southwest, and we found it's very busy down here. So going to Bury Head has been quite difficult. Trying to film and take photographs during the day is very difficult with this number of people here. Also, it's been quite disheartening to see the amount of litter that the general public leave behind and the general disrespect for the countryside. It's a real shame when we have countryside like this on our doorstep. So as you will have seen from some of my videos, I've been up on Dartmoor instead, going up there at early doors, and you can, virtually have the place to yourself at sunrise if you go to the right places. So what I definitely have learnt from this, it takes a lot of time to film, take photographs, and then edit everything to produce a video once a week. And looking back at the films I've made so far, there's things I like about them, but certainly they aren't up to the quality I'd really like. What it has done though, has got me out of the house more, and I've enjoyed that, especially the Dartmoor trips. I've gone to places I haven't been before, and I'm sure I'll plan some more in the next few weeks. So what can I tell you about the filmmaking side of things? Well, I've tried two ways of making films. I've tried sitting down and making a storyboard first, then going out with the intention of getting the clips I want and scripting the whole thing. That you'll probably have seen in the first clip, the first video I actually put on YouTube. And then after that I've tried going out and just winging it. So with my GoPro most of the time, and just taking video of what comes, a lot of walking around, talking to the camera as you're walking, and then stitching those together. And both work. I must admit, I enjoy the ad hoc one better. It's you just go out and do what you want. But what I found is you do have to do a certain amount of planning if you want a decent video at the end of the day. For instance, I've been out this morning to Bury Head to film the sunrise with no real plan, and I've taken quite a lot of film, but having come home and looked at the film quality that I've got and the images that I've taken, I'm not at this minute happy with any of them. So I think a little bit of planning really helps. Also, I'm still getting to grips with the settings on the camera, although I understand the camera quite well now. For instance, I'm currently filming at a frame rate of 25 frames per second, and to give a more cinematic look, I've got a shutter speed of 1/50th of a second, twice that. So doing that consistently in the field, you've got to think about what you're doing beforehand. Also, as you've seen from the videos, the sound quality is paramount. The better sound quality and the better music you choose, the better your videos are going to look. On the photography side, I'm quite pleased with the photographs I'm taking, but I am finding the limitations of the camera and the software I'm using to post-process. So I use a Sony A6300, and because of that I've downloaded a copy of Capture One Pro, which I use for post-processing. Now the limitations I've come up against are things like focus stacking and trying to blend different exposures. I'll show you some images that I've taken at Merivale Stone Circle, which gives you a perfect example of that. I was there at sunrise and I wanted to take the sunrise coming up over the stone circle, and I'd set the camera at f16 so I could get a lovely sun star as the sun just came up over the horizon. Excellent. But of course you're shooting straight into the sun, so the exposure difference, or the light difference between the sky and the ground, is huge. Now as the sun came up, it started to light up the ground, and there was a small window of opportunity to grab a few images without having to use filters or to stack the images in post-processing. But that's a very small window, and you can still get a better image though by using filters to stop down the sky, to darken the sky. Or you could expose for the sky so that the sky is darker, and expose for the ground so you can bring out the detail in the ground. And then blend them together in post-processing. Now unfortunately my Capture One software isn't able to focus stack or blend exposures together. For that you need something like Photoshop, which is more expensive. So I've just downloaded actually a copy of GIMP, which promises to be able to do what I want. I haven't used it yet, but I'll let you know in future videos how I get along. So I think I'll go through some of the photographs that I took at Merivale Stone Rose and the Stone Circle, and try and explain what I was doing, how I was trying to take the photographs, what I was thinking at the time, and share some of that with you. Well, I'm just waiting for the sun to come up. Hopefully not long now. You can see the clouds above me starting to be lit up. Once I see the sun on the tors behind me there, then I know it's almost here. Midges are out. Oh nice. Well, we're nearly there. It's just coming. When it happens, and we're going to have to move quick to get the right shots. But, wow. What a landscape. You can see on the top of the tor up there. The sun's just striking the top. Wow. Lovely light, but I want this shot here. So I framed the shot to get all of the stone circle in the frame. I was using my Sigma 16mm lens, which on my A6300 is a full frame equivalent of a 24mm. The aperture was set at f11 in order to get as much in focus as possible, plus hopefully give me that sun star that I wanted. And I was focusing on the rising sun. ISO was 100, which is the lowest I can get on this camera, and I was adjusting the shutter speed to change the exposure and get the shot I wanted. So as the sun rose, I alternately over and underexposed the images in order to capture as much detail in the sky and the shadows in the foreground. As the sun started to illuminate the foreground, I was able to capture a few images with enough detail in both the sky and the foreground. So this was the resulting shot. So as I said, this was taken at 60mm, f11, ISO 100, and the shutter speed I got this image with was 1/60th of a second. And then in post-processing, I made a few changes. So I increased the highlights to increase the detail in the sky. And also I brought the shadows up to give me the detail in the foreground. Added a little bit of clarity, which added some contrast and a little bit of colour. And then what you won't see on this are many animals. There were lots of sheep and cows around. So I actually used layer masks to clone out the sheep that I didn't want. And this was the resulting image. So once I got the shot I wanted of the stone circle, I decided to take the camera off the tripod and just see what other shots I could get as the sun was still rising. So the first one was the larger of the stones in the circle. So I got as low as I could behind it and tried to get the sun star just on the point of the stone. And this is how that turned out. Again, I'm still at 16mm and f11. But I've increased the shutter speed because I'm holding the camera, and I think this was at 1/200th of a second. So after that, these were the other shots I got. Hope you enjoy them. One of the other limits I have is my telephoto lens. It's only a 210mm, which is fine for some, most subjects, but when you try to do wildlife photography, I could really do with a longer lens. Fortunately, I have a crop sensor on the A6300, so I've ordered myself the 70 to 350mm G lens from Sony. Now that will give me a equivalent focal length of 525mm, so almost a 600mm lens. But rather than being a lens of this size, it's still a compact lens, lightweight, and something I can lug about quite easily. And as you've seen from my videos, I like going cycling with it as well. So the lighter the gear, the better. Hopefully I'll be able to get some good images with that and show you the difference between that and the 210mm that I currently have. The other thing you'll notice, as I've said before, sound quality is so important. You'll notice from the video that it's very windy. I was using my GoPro, which without any fluffy cat or anything to protect it from the wind, it just roars and you can't really hear anything. Well, that was so much fun. Just had a little encounter with a phone. Well, I hope you enjoyed that and all my waffling on. I know you keen photographers out there won't have learned a lot from that, but I thought I'd share what I'm doing, and maybe some of you have the same problems I have. So if you want to comment below and share our thoughts, then please do so. Well, I think I'll end it there. Hopefully next week I'll be out in the countryside enjoying the fresh air and taking some better photographs. But for now, cheerio.